In honor of winter, we are going to be making snowflakes today. And you will need white paper, pencil, and tape, just for now. Write your name and code on the paper, and then flip it over so that you have a beautiful blank surface to work on. After that, you are going to be working with tape and tape alone for the rest of this class. To find the end of the tape, take your fingernail and drag it along the circle of the tape until you feel the end. And then pick to pull it up. Measure the paper with your tape like this. And then when it's the right length, the height of the paper, rip it off the roll. Then, carefully place the tape in the middle of the paper and smooth it down. We're going to be making a T, so we need another piece of tape to cross that first line we created. Measure it first and then rip it. You can't pull tape right off the roll. You kind of have to rip it, like you would rip a piece of paper. Be careful with this tape, it's sticky. Don't let it get rolled on itself. And make sure that you are ready and have it in the right spot, right in the middle of the paper again, to create that T. Look, we just created a vertical line and a horizontal line. Remember when we did horizontal and vertical lines for that rainbow artwork? That was a long time ago, but we're still using the same words. Very interesting. Next, I'm going to put an X on top of the T. Measure it first. When you're ready, rip the tape off the roll. Carefully place it and then smooth it down. I need another piece of tape that goes the other way to create and finish my X. Are you starting to see a snowflake here? Now I don't want to stop here with my snowflake. I know that snowflakes are a little bit more complicated than that. A lot of times they have shorter lines that crisscross the longer ones. So I am going to continue decorating and adding complicated designs to my snowflake. But the rule is, since a snowflake is a radial pattern, that's our word of the day, radial pattern. That means all of this long sticks of my snowflake need to be decorated in the same way. So every single spoke of my snowflake wheel needs one of those shorter pieces across it. Otherwise, that's not a radial pattern. I'm not even going to stop there. Now I'm going to add little lines that point down with shorter pieces of tape. And to keep it radial, I need to add the same lines and decorations to each spoke of the wheel in my snowflake. The more decorations and the more radial patterns that you add to the snowflake, the cooler the project will look at the end. This tape is going to resist the watercolor paint we're going to put on the entire paper. And when the paint dries, we're going to take the tape off. It's going to leave a bright white line underneath it to create that bright white snowflake. And the more tape you add, the cooler that part is going to look. Once your tape snowflake is all done with its radial pattern, It is time to use watercolor and salt to create another type of resist. You'll be using something called liquid watercolors today. It comes with a lid that you need to peel off. And I want to tell you about the colors you have to use in this one. You have all the colors of the rainbow, plus pink, turquoise, brown, and black. And you have 2 sets of the same color on either side of this palette, so 2 people can definitely share this or more. Your job is to cover the entire paper with this watercolor paint. Go right on top of that tape. Remember, we're peeling it off when it's dry, so you want to cover it to create that resist look. The colors are going to mix with watercolors because it's very liquidy. And sometimes that's a good thing, like right here, I'm using pink and it mixed with the blue to make a beautiful purple color. Sometimes the color mixing doesn't work out very well. So try not to mix these colors together. Red and green do not look good mixed together. It makes a grayish brownish color. Yellow and purple do not look good mixed together either. And lastly, orange and blue do not look good mixed together. So try not to mix those. While the paint is still wet, you are going to dash some salt onto the wet paint. It is going to create many little tiny snowflakes because each grain of salt is going to suck up some paint like a sponge and create a little white area behind it. Don't forget to stop every once in a while the paint is still wet to sprinkle the salt. The salt effect will not work unless it is put onto wet paint. Once your whole paper is covered with watercolor paint, you are done for now. You need to put the lid of the watercolors firmly, strongly back on top so they don't spill. Your beautiful snowflake needs to go on the drying rack to dry, of course. And you need to please wipe your table and put your salt and paint and water cups away. Thank you so much. Can't wait till next time to reveal the tape resist. Once the watercolor paint is completely dry, you can start peeling off the tape. Use your fingernail to pick up the edge first, and then carefully peel it off of the paper. You're going to want to work backwards so that you're peeling off the tape that's on top, because the tape you added last is going to be on top and therefore easier to remove. So I know that one of the last things that I added to my snowflake were these short pieces of tape to add details. So I'm going to pick all of those off first. Then I know that I worked on the longer pieces of tape at the beginning of this project. So I'm going to peel those off last. Let's take a minute and take a look at our salt resist. Do you see those little tiny whitish circles? Those are caused by the salt soaking up the paint and creating a white area. It looks so cool. It looks like a million tiny snowflakes. Take a close look at your tape and pick the line that you put on last, the line that's on top, and peel it off. And continue working backwards like this. Oops, right there I accidentally pulled the tape too fast and too hard, so I'm going to stop pulling that side and pull from the other direction. It did rip off a little bit of the paper, but it didn't create a hole. Whew! That's why we go slow, you guys. Art is not a race. The slower you go, the safer you'll be. This project, we learned about radial designs and watercolor resist, and it looks so phenomenal. Great job, you guys.